Hey, what's going on? Just gonna do a quick video today. I know it's a little off topic for Trucking with Selena, considering it's got a chick's name in the title, but wanted to touch on something. As you saw in the title, MGTOW, meaning men going their own way. I happen to be a big proponent of this philosophy or mindset. Selena and I do talk about it all the time, given that we have both been divorced in the past and seeing what's happened to people that get divorced and what they go through. I can speak personally from my divorces. I've been divorced twice now. Selena is my third marriage. And I know anybody talking about MGTOW would be saying like, you're an idiot, you got married again. And before I met Selena, yeah, I had that mindset like I was never going to get married again. Never really have anything to do with women again. I had no desire for a relationship. Just basically to be alone and go to work and spend time with my daughter and just cut myself off. And of course, time and space equals clarity. You know, your demons kind of get set aside, and the skepticism that you have about getting yourself mixed up in that life again, it eases off in so many ways. So, but you can look around. MGTOW, MGTOW, men going their own way. It's become a pretty popular movement in Western culture nowadays of men of all ages, even going into high school ages now. And the millennials are opting to stay single, not having anything to do with the dating scene, marriage, having children, and a lot of it based around a few different parts. You know, how women act nowadays, that many women are very selfish without any sense of responsibility or accountability to their actions and how they treat a man in their life. And also how the law works against men in general nowadays. You got family courts that are very biased. If you have children with a woman and you get divorced, it's happened to me. My ex-wife, she just took my daughter and she even moved to another state without my permission. And I even called the district attorney and family court, and they didn't care. And you got to take it. If I had done the same thing that my ex did with my daughter and just left without my permission, disappeared to another state, if I had done that, I would have been charged with kidnapping. So you can see the bias towards a man and how he's seen in the court system, and really how a man's come to be seen in society nowadays with things like the #MeToo movement and, you know, any sort of accusation, sexual harassment, anything. A guy will lose his job, lose his entire career, and even lose his social status. They'll be looked at as a rapist now. I mean, when you can equate a woman making loose or even false allegations against you with really no repercussions on her, and then the law will just come and arrest you, or just social justice will ruin you anyways, you know, just the matter of opinion of everybody, because a woman said it, you're ruined, and it's not right. You know, what happened to being innocent until proven guilty is out the window now, especially in the court of public opinion, that men are opting to just walk away. Men are staying away from women in a lot of senses now, don't work with women, which brings me around to the point of taking on a MGTOW mindset And you could be married, you could be divorced, you could be single. I mean, reading up on MGTOW is really, like I said, it's just a set of ideas. It's an ideology that you protect yourself and you avoid all of the BS that comes from mixing up with people that will ultimately ruin you. I mean, you look at divorce rates are 70+% for first-time marriages, and 3/4 of divorces are initiated by women because they know what they can get from their guy. Especially if you're out there, you're a decent guy, hardworking, you guys have a house, you have kids or anything, she knows she's going to benefit heavily from that she could get the kids, get the house, get the dog, get the car, and also take half of your paycheck. So, and that's even if you have time with your kids, even in cases of joint custody. So men going their own ways become more and more popular in Western culture. I mean, you see it in Australia, Europe, New Zealand, and in America, that men are just steering clear of women. They're not dating, nothing. And it's purely out of self-preservation. They don't want to lose their livelihood, their career, possibly even their life through false allegations. I mean, the cops show up because maybe your wife or girlfriend says you beat her and you actually didn't. Cops show up, you're a threat, you could even be shot, you could be killed because a woman simply says you did something. A man is always going to be the threat, a man is always going to be the criminal, a man is always going to be the villain, the demonized one, the vilified person in the equation. So when guys are entering into relationships, marriages, and I don't know what this guy is doing, swerving all over the place, but something to consider for all men, especially younger guys coming up. You have this desire to meet a woman, get married, and all that kind of stuff. Now I'm not saying never get married, but consider what you're getting yourself into, especially when you're young and more naive to the workings of women. I was naive when I got into my first marriage. I married a woman that was 5 years older than me. I was 25 when I met her, and I hadn't dated a whole lot at that point. Hooked up with her. She had a 7-year-old son. I took her in. Within a couple of months of us starting to date, I was Captain Save-A-Ho. I was what they call a simp, that I took her in. She was living at her sister's house, sleeping on the couch. She had her 7-year-old son. She had just moved to Sacramento. That's where I lived. And, like I said, within a couple months, she was moving her furniture in, and her son came to live there too. And, I felt like I was doing the right thing, and I married her, and I adopted her son, and I raised him all the way up through high school. And then she left me. I mean, we had problems all the way through the relationship. Plenty of red flags I should have seen that should have really made me walk away. If it had been me today meeting her, I would have walked within the first 5 minutes because all the red flags would have come up. She had daddy issues. She was abused, molested. She had abortions. I mean, I really picked the gem of the bunch, that she had even what would loosely be called been a prostitute, that she lived in a Hispanic community and she took on what was called Sanchos, that she would have sex with married dudes that would help her out to pay her bills and stuff. It was like a, boyfriend on the side, that she would have sex with guys on the side. She was never their girlfriend. She was never their wife. These guys would just come over, have sex with her, and they'd help her to pay her power bill, help her to pay her rent. They'd buy her furniture, her clothes, presents, whatever, which basically you could call prostitution. She gave up her ass for compensation of some sort. So now she gets offended by that, like, no, I wasn't, but yeah, you were. So, but whatever, I even knew about that stuff ahead of time, and I looked past it. I thought I was doing the right thing, and ultimately, at the end of that relationship, when she left, I was homeless, and she left her son with me too, which he came to really resent me and ultimately stopped talking to me. I haven't talked to him in almost a decade now. And all things to consider when you meet a woman, that if they have daddy issues, they've already been married before, they have kids, they're single moms, which most women you meet nowadays are going to be single moms. You really have to be careful in how you pick and choose through this bunch of women. If you see red flags that they're selfish, they're after your money, they want to be taken care of, they're looking for you to come in and be the white knight and ultimately fix their lives and help them out, it's probably a pretty good cue to go ahead and walk. Nobody's forcing you to stay. So, but back on point, the whole point of this is, just give you a little background on what men going their own way is. It is simply an ideology for men to take on to avoid catastrophe in their own lives. If need be, stay alone, stay single, don't have kids. If you're in that position already that you're just single and, free to go about the world, you may want to continue doing that until you get a little bit older and have a little bit more experience and can be in a position to pick and choose through women, so you don't end up like I did, and like so many other guys do. They get married younger, and being younger and naive, thinking like you're doing the right thing. Because I had the example of my parents. They've been married over 50 years. They got married in 1964. They're still together. My brother, he got married just out of college to his high school sweetheart, and then along came me. I got married and married the worst possible person I could have even imagined picking out. I mean, I was single, no kids, no debt, free to go about the world, and I picked up a very damaged woman and her kid under the guise of the example of my parents and my brother, and the people around me were all in very solid relationships and stuff. Well, you got to look at it like, well, they kind of lucked out. They hit it right on the first time. So, again, going into my second wife, same thing. When we broke up, she kept the house, kept the car, kept the dog. I was totally cut off from that life, and my daughter suffered for that too. So, but again, major daddy issues. She had already been divorced. She had a lot of emotional baggage. She was a very damaged person. And again, red flags should have gone up right away. Guess I didn't learn my lesson the first time. So, any guys out there that haven't gone down this path yet, and all the guys that have gone down it and know what I'm talking about. Had I known about MGTOW several years ago and pounded it into my head, it's things I had to figure out on my own, but had I known the red flags to look for ahead of time, it could have saved me a lot of trouble. Now, being with Selena, whole different story. She's a selfless person. She's not a taker, she's a giver, as am I. When you have two givers in a relationship is when you can prosper. Plus, we have great compatibility and we really care for each other, so it all works out. But most women you meet are going to be takers. A lot of guys want to be good providers. They're givers. Now, I know there's a lot of bad guys out there too, but for the most part, guys, you have a natural inclination to be a provider, a protector, and give a home to your wife and your kids and a family. And you got to realize a lot of people aren't on that same bandwagon with you. So if you are a man of divorce, or you're a single guy and just looking to build up your life, trucking could be the answer. You really could. If you're a single dude and you're young and you're working at just menial jobs, working in food service, warehouses, making $12 an hour or something like that, or if you're divorced and I already know, I was homeless, trucking could actually save your life. Go get your CDL, go out on the road, and what you see in the video is what I'm doing today. I'm in Wyoming, out here driving, nobody bothering me. This windshield can be a man's greatest therapy. You come out here and you just put the miles behind you for weeks, months, even years, and all that stuff seems to go away. Plus two, the benefit is you get to live in your truck. You don't have to have any overhead. You can put all your money in the bank. You make a decent paycheck, typically, around $1,000 a week to be an over-the-road truck driver. If you work for a company, they'll provide you with health, dental, vision insurance, retirement. It's a job that is in demand. They don't have enough people to do this kind of work, so you will always have a job as long as you keep your record clean. And you have a small house you get to live in too. You got a roof over your head, you got a bed, air conditioning, heat, most times even a little fridge in the truck, storage space so you can live right here out of your truck. Even on days that you take off, you don't have to go back to where you live if you have no reason to go back there. Say you're from Phoenix, you don't have to go to Phoenix for your time off. You put in for your time off and you let them know. I want to take a week off in Miami. I want to take a week off in New York. I want to take a week off, in Chicago. Something like that. So you can actually get paid to travel and take time off on vacation spots that you otherwise would have been saving all year to go take a plane ride to at your regular job. You can actually go and see these places and spend time there on your own accord. You're on days off, you have a job, you go right back to your truck. On those days too, you can get a hotel, maybe a rental car, and have a really good time. And then you realize that you're not totally strapped to do it too, because you've been putting your money in the bank, and you can just go have a great time by yourself. So, but MGTOW could save a man's life with trucking. You put the miles behind you, you get to sit out here. Like I said, this windshield can be your best therapist, especially if you've gone through divorce, a bad breakup, a lot of troubled times in your life, a lot of hard times. Come out here and start working, keep your overhead low. Don't necessarily have to have a home or anything like that if you're in that position, and you could definitely benefit from being in this industry. You'll always have a job. Some companies are good, some are bad. You'll find out as you go after you get your training out of the way, usually a couple months of getting your CDL, getting out on the road, getting trained by a company, and then you get cut loose in your own truck, and here you are. You could be making around $1,000 a week. Have benefits, retirement built up if you want to stay doing this for a long time, or even after you get some experience and go back to working locally in a town or a city. You can find good work there too, just driving locally, be home again every day. Say you have kids or something you want to be around all the time. This job could definitely help to ease the transition and the struggle, especially if you're fighting to even see your kids. Maybe you should go ahead and take the hit and go on the road for a while and build yourself back up so you can be the best possible dad and the best possible person you can be for your situation. But as far as MGTOW goes, trucking could save a man's life in so many ways. I know it helped me out tremendously through the years. And if you really get serious about it, have any questions, leave a comment down below. Research MGTOW. Again, MGTOW. Men going their own way. If you think it's something that could benefit you, it's something you should really check out. But trucking could definitely better your situation by providing you with a small home, get paid to travel, build yourself back up, and you can do it without the overhead. You don't have to have a home to go to every night. You don't have to have a car. You don't have to have anything. If you already lost all that stuff in a divorce, you really got nothing left to lose. You can just come back out here on the road, see the country, get paid for it. Granted, today's a nice day, clear weather. You do have bad days, snow, rain, ice, extreme heat, but again, you got air conditioning in the truck, so you're fine. But you learn how to deal with it, get your experience down, and look at the next step. I went on to be an owner-operator, so I make a lot more money now. Things are much better. But that's not for everybody. Somebody may just want to stay a company driver and have a job and a paycheck and benefits and just keep their life uncomplicated. But that's something you'll figure out as you get into it. But I just want to put this out there today, how much that ideology, those principles of MGTOW have helped me out. Could help a lot of other guys out, seeing that if you don't want to be around women as well, work around women. Trucking is 90+% men still. It's an industry that is run mainly by men because it's really an undesirable job for the most part, unless you take the good with the bad. You can be out here on the road, free to roam about the country and get paid for it. So take it from that perspective, you could do quite well. If you're not a guy that can handle being on the road or being away from home, family, anything like that, it may not be the job for you. But if you're in a position where you have lost everything, or you're young and single and want to build yourself up, if you think about it, you can make $50,000 to $70,000 a year and have no overhead and just stuff all that money in the bank. Or if you have child support, you can definitely be better off rather than having the overhead of all the bills at home and child support. Or you could be out here on the road living out of the truck with minimal overhead and be able to cover all your bills and still have savings. So definitely something to think about. So all right, I guess we'll end that there. And like I said, any questions, comments, look forward to hearing from you. All right, out.